Afternoon, Lena. Lena, you mind telling me why this son of a is still here?
He's fixing a few more things around here, Clyde.
I don't give a goddamn, Owen. Now, I gave you a direct order. You think I'm scared of you, old man?
Clyde,
Stay out of this, Lena. You know what? I'm gonna make this real simple. Now, you got 5 minutes to pack your shit and get the hell out of this town. I suggest you comply. We clear?
Clyde, we don't ask for much.
I already just told you no.
Well, I'm asking you nicely.
Now, goddamn it, Lena, what did I just say?
You are hurting me.
Clear your weapons, put them on the table, turn and walk out of here.
You know who I am? Surprise. I really underestimated you, Nomada. Shit.
The movie opens in the isolated town of Rondo, Texas, where wheelchair-bound father Owen and his daughter Lena are closing up their saloon when trouble arrives uninvited. Clyde Whitfield, the son of the town's mob boss Jeremiah, along with 2 of his henchmen, disregards the closing sign and confronts Lena. He reminds her that their usual shipment will soon arrive at the brewery and insists she be punctual. Clyde makes his intentions clear, offering Lena a day off in exchange for a night in his bed, convinced that they are fated to be together. When he crosses the line and becomes overly familiar with her, Owen steps in, warning Clyde to respect his daughter. In response, Clyde violently pushes Owen against the wall.
My apologies.
Demonstrating his ruthless nature. That night, Lena prays to her late husband Brian, a veteran, asking for an angel to guide her through the turmoil. It seems that Brian is listening because the following day, an old war veteran arrives in town. Later that afternoon at the local bakery, he meets Vernon, the baker, and offers to work in exchange for a meal. Although Vernon recognizes him as a fellow vet and wishes to offer the meal as a gift, the old man insists on earning it. While fixing a shelf, Vernon learns that the veteran is just passing through and advises him to leave quickly, as outsiders can find themselves in perilous situations here. As the old man enjoys his meal, Sheriff Wiley enters.
Sheriff Wiley,
Who do we have here?
he's just passing through.
Is that right? Well, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Vernon tells me you're passing through.
Haven't decided yet.
Let me decide for you. Now, we don't care much for outsiders here in our quiet little town. So why don't you just finish up that meal and find your way out of Rondo? Clear?
Let me ask you, Sheriff, am I breaking some kind of law?
I can be real inventive. Special forces, huh? Well, just because you're a war veteran don't mean you get any special treatment around here.
The veteran simply nods in agreement and returns to his sandwich. Meanwhile, at the Whitfield estate, Clyde prepares to oversee operations at the brewery while Jeremiah urges him to stay vigilant. The regular delivery of illicit goods arrives at the brewery, and town residents are forced to unload it under the watchful eyes of armed guards. Zeke, one of Jeremiah's enforcers, arrives and demands that a local resident named Randall accompany him for a talk with Jeremiah. Later, the old man stops by a motel where the owner, Rufus, appears visibly anxious at the mere presence of a stranger. The rooms are priced at $20 a night, and the old man requests one for himself. Back at the estate, Randall is brought before Jeremiah, who reveals that someone has been leaking information about his operations. Despite Randall's desperate attempts to shift blame onto his wife Vivian, Jeremiah shows no sympathy. Zeke promptly breaks Randall's wrist as a warning. Finally, the old man arrives at Owen and Lena's saloon seeking work in exchange for food. Owen refers to him as Nomada, a title that resonates with the old man, who respects veterans and mentions his late son-in-law Brian. Owen offers him a day's work, introducing him to Lena, who remains skeptical about the potential trouble this newcomer might bring. Despite Owen's need for help as the saloon falls into disrepair, Lena fears it could complicate matters further. Nevertheless, the old man begins working diligently, even managing to get the oven functioning again while Lena watches from a distance, intrigued yet apprehensive about this unexpected turn of events. The fragile peace is abruptly shattered when Clyde and his two henchmen swagger through the door. Clyde's gaze lands on the old man, skepticism evident as he questions the name Nomada. The old man simply replies that he's passing through, and Owen supports him, clarifying that he's only helping out with odd jobs for the day. Clyde, however, issues a thinly veiled threat, warning that the old man better keep his word. His focus quickly shifts to Lena when she brings them a couple of beers, and he invites her to join him for a drink. Lena firmly declines, but Clyde's temper flares as he reminds her that he doesn't take kindly to being told no. Throughout this tense exchange, the old man remains composed. Later that evening, during dinner, Owen and Lena confide in the old man about Jeremiah's oppressive rule and their deep-seated fears for their safety. He questions why they don't simply leave, but they reveal their entrapment in a web of circumstances that keeps them tethered to Rondo. After dinner, Lena reluctantly pays the old man for his help but expresses her desire for him not to return, fearing that his presence may worsen their already precarious situation. Nomada understands her concerns and departs, opting to stay at the local motel where he pays a refundable fee of $5 for extra towels. As a storm rages outside, the townspeople find themselves trapped in the brewery, frantically packing products for shipment. Meanwhile, Nomada drifts into a deep sleep in the bath and is haunted by a vivid dream of leading his special forces team into an ambush. His bullet-riddled body serves as a grim testament to his past. The next day, he returns to the saloon to assist Owen with a broken drain. However, Lena's anxiety is palpable upon seeing him again. She fears for Owen's safety after witnessing the brutal treatment of Randall. She warns Owen not to trust the old man, questioning why he remains in town. Nomada insists on helping Owen because he recognizes him as a good man. As if scripted, Clyde and his crew enter the saloon again, visibly displeased to find Nomada still there. Owen attempts to reason with Clyde, but Clyde has no interest in dialogue. He dismissively tells Nomada he has 5 minutes to pack up and leave.
Clyde,
Stay out of this, Lynn. You know what? I'm gonna make this real simple. Now you got 5 minutes to pack your shit and get the hell out of this town. I suggest you comply. We clear?
Clyde, we don't ask for much.
I already just told you no.
Well, I'm asking you nicely.
God damn it, Lana, what did I just say?
You were hurting me.
Clear your weapons. Put them on the table. Turn and walk out of here.
You know who I am?
Later, Lena reveals more about Whitfield's criminal operations and shares that Owen had once found a way out of town, but it left him confined to a wheelchair. She warns that things will only worsen after today's incident, especially with Sheriff Wiley involved. In response, Nomada locks away the guns he confiscated in Owen's safe for safekeeping. Meanwhile, Clyde rushes to complain to his father Jeremiah about being thrown out by an insane old man. Jeremiah is incredulous that 3 of his men lost to just one elderly figure and decides it's best to avoid escalating the situation further. He instructs Wiley to handle it discreetly. As tensions rise, the townsfolk gather in the saloon later that day. Some express concern about Nomada's presence while others begin to feel emboldened by the prospect of standing up against their oppressors. Fear lingers in the air, but Owen reassures them by reminding them of Nomada's formidable background as a Green Beret. Meanwhile, Nomada reaches out to an old comrade on the phone, who is taken aback to hear from him. Everyone thought he had died long ago.
Who is this?
Ghost.
Is this a joke?
Yeah, but we are. That's who you owe me, Dad.
Anything?
Just then, Wiley storms in on the gathered townsfolk, and Lena quickly concocts a lie about them planning a surprise birthday party for Owen. Wiley, unconvinced, demands to see the old man, intent on arresting him for assault, and threatens to detain both Owen and Lena for harboring a fugitive. In response, Nomada emerges from the shadows, warning Wiley that a call to Colonel Hollister would summon federal agents to the scene, an outcome that would not bode well for Wiley. He offers an alternative: let the old man leave in peace. Without hesitation, Wiley decides to back off. Meanwhile, Jeremiah is finalizing a deal at the brewery when Wiley calls to inform him of the townsfolk gathered with Nomada, who has threatened to reach out to Colonel Hollister. Jeremiah's response is calm and calculated. He knows that Hollister has been dead for years and plans to handle the situation himself. That evening, as Nomada prepares to leave, Lena's instincts kick in. Sensing impending trouble, she pleads with him to stay, and he reluctantly agrees. Though she offers him a room for the night, he insists on sleeping on the floor, seeking nothing more than a ride come morning. That night, Lena expresses her gratitude to Brian for sending her this unexpected guardian. The following morning, they set off in Lena's car, making a brief stop at the Whitfield estate before heading to an overgrown landing strip where a small plane touches down. The pilot hands Nomada a package that two men watch from a distance. Unbeknownst to them, the package contains an arsenal of weapons and explosives, the tools of Nomada's trade. As they begin to leave, Nomada senses they are being followed. He readies his gun and urges Lena to accelerate.
Speed up a little.
They find refuge in a nearby silo just before their attackers arrive. Once inside, Nomada prepares for confrontation, arming himself with a shotgun. When the two men enter the silo, Nomada confronts them, buying enough time for himself and Lena to slip away into an adjacent building. He hands her his bag and instructs her to hide before engaging the intruders. In a fierce exchange of gunfire, he injures one hitman before making his way up some stairs. The remaining assailant chases after him, spraying bullets into old refrigerators in a desperate attempt to flush him out. Nomada intervenes again. They decide it's time to return to town, but Nomada warns Lena that she and Owen must leave as danger looms ahead. However, she feels trapped with nowhere to go. As night falls, they pull up to the saloon only to walk into a scene of horror.
Surprise. I really underestimated you, Nomada.
Clyde's twisted sense of justice is clear as he reveals he has sinister plans for the townspeople, but for Lena, he has something uniquely cruel in store. Zeke attempts to remind Clyde of Jeremiah's orders, but Clyde dismisses him with a menacing warning to stay out of his way. Undeterred, Zeke calls Clyde's bluff, exposing the latter's inability to act. In a brazen move, Clyde drags Lena toward his car, leaving chaos in his wake. Back inside the saloon, the townsfolk plead for their lives as the gangsters aim their weapons, but the grim reality unfolds as Zeke and his men unleash a brutal massacre, filling the air with gunfire. Nomada, regaining consciousness, catches only fleeting glimpses of the horror around him. Lena, having narrowly escaped one danger, finds herself ensnared in another as Clyde demands her obedience, promising that in time she will love him and they will build a family together. Meanwhile, as Clyde's goons begin clearing away the bodies, Nomada vanishes into the shadows, prompting a wave of nervousness among the gangsters who understand the threat he poses. They search frantically until they reach a freezer, where Nomada ambushes them with powerful strikes. He tends to his wounds while the weight of the massacre weighs heavily on him. Wiley arrives on the scene, quickly deducing that Nomada is not responsible for the carnage but nonetheless arrests him. Clyde returns home with Lena in tow, eager to persuade Jeremiah to let him keep her. However, Jeremiah senses Lena's discomfort with the situation and instructs Clyde to take her to the brewery instead of his home. Instead of heading to the station, Wiley makes his way to the brewery. Alone at last, Nomada cleverly uses his mouth to remove a pin from his pocket and unlock his cuffs. Wiley informs Zeke that Nomada is still alive but demands an explanation for the massacre at the saloon. Zeke arrogantly reminds Wiley of his place, but when Wiley tries to intervene, Zeke shoots him dead. With Nomada now free, he stealthily takes out a lone guard and infiltrates the brewery, showcasing his marksmanship by taking down multiple adversaries with precision shots. Just then, Clyde arrives with Lena in his truck, puzzled by the eerie silence around him. When he spots Nomada, he decides to run him over, but a bullet to the forehead brings him crashing down. As Lena learns of her father's demise, she begins to mourn deeply, while Nomada resolves that this madness must end. Jeremiah sits at home playing his piano when Nomada and Lena confront him. The shocking truth emerges: Nomada is Colonel Hollister, a man whose past intertwines with Jeremiah's as the commander who sent their team into perilous danger during the war. When Jeremiah attempts to assert authority and demands Hollister back down, he is met with a swift response. Hollister shoots him in the leg before igniting a fire that leaves him to perish in agony. In the aftermath, Hollister stands solemnly by as Lena holds a funeral for Owen. The following day, they drive to the edge of town where Hollister reminds her that she is now free to forge a new life. With a sense of purpose, she tells him that God is with him before driving away, while Nomada hits the road once more, ready for whatever lies ahead. Thank you for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.